The Audio Technica AT2020. Is this still a relevant mic at £95? Hi, my name's Ian, and I've just thought, after doing the review of the T-Bone microphone I did yesterday, I thought I'd have a look at the Audio Technica in comparison to that, and in another video in the future what I'll do is I will produce one comparing the 2020 with the T-Bone. But this microphone retails at virtually double the price of the T-Bone. It's quite a hefty mic actually. It weighs in at 12 ounces, so if you want to put this on a boom stand you're going to need something really quite solid, either that or a counterweight, or just be careful, very, very careful. These things won't take knocks. They're designed really to be used in studio, although most of us haven't got studios, so that's the reason why I try to test these microphones in normal situations in a house, how most people probably would be using them. So that gives some idea how the thing reacts to the room sound. The other thing I don't like doing is I don't really like to do a noise test, because obviously we've all got different things to record on with different signal to noise ratios, and it's not always a great indicator of what these things are actually capable of. In fact, actually probably in my house the noise is probably worse than the microphone or my gear, I don't know. So because of all the variables, I don't really like to show signal to noise, but this one is quoted fairly high. It's actually quoted at 74 dB. Now, for me, that's verging on the slightly high side. It's okay if you take it outdoors where you've got surrounding ambient noise. It's possibly okay indoors without too much processing. When I record on this thing, I won't be doing any processing. It'll just be the raw sound. But it's just verging on the slightly high side for me. I'm just on the edge at 74, 75. I'm just sort of thinking, oh, is the noise going to be starting to be showing in my recordings? It has a dynamic range of 124 dB, and the maximum input it'll take is 144 dB. So if you've got any racing cars going by, that's probably going to be okay for this. It comes with a mount and a bag, and the mount isn't a shock mount that's going to take a lot of bangs and things. It's going to put stuff right through to the microphone. It's one of those screw-on things, and it holds it from the bottom. So there's a bit of leverage going on there. So it's not really a shock mount, but it's a substantial thing and screws straight onto the Audio Technica. But I would rather have something like a shock mount for this one. Okay, so now we're going to try this thing and see what it sounds like indoors first. Before I do the actual testing, this is the sound of the microphone at what I would call a studio distance, when you do the old classic sort of measurement here, and this is the kind of sound that you would expect to get from this microphone, and this is the way it would be used in a studio. So this is how it sounds, not in a studio, but in a normal room, not been treated. So this is what you could expect yourself if you were in a similar kind of situation. So this is the sound of the Audio Technica in my dreaded front room, with a little bit of reverberation from the walls, and also not forgetting the wall behind me. And this is actually what it sounds like in a normal situation. So this is the sound of the microphone from the front. This is the sound of the microphone at 90 degrees. Now, because this is a cardioid, it may not yet have dropped off. So now I'm just going to go a little bit further than 90 degrees. This is the sound of the microphone in what I would call the null point for supercardioids. This is the sound of the microphone on the back end. Now, very often on the back end with supercardioids, you're going to get a slight hike in the bass. And I'm hoping with this one there isn't too much of a hike there because it's a cardioid. Going round, I'm now in the null point on the other side. I'm now at 90 degrees to the microphone, and I'm coming round now to the front, and that's the sound of the microphone. By the way, it's very easy to hold this microphone the wrong way round. The labelling, it says Audio Technica on the front, but actually, honestly, it is very easy to make a mistake and start talking into the back end of the mic. So if you ever hear someone that sounds like this and you think, oh dear, the audio is terrible, they're talking into the back end of their microphone, especially if they've got a windbreaker on the top there. You can't see the marking. So that's the sound from the front of the microphone. It's easy to make a mistake. Okay, now this is the difficult part of the test where I've had to balance 12 ounces of sheer microphone weight on my boom stand. So this is how the microphone sounds from a distance of about 3 feet from my mouth. In this position, it's going to be picking up probably the wall behind me here, so there's going to be a little bit of reverb from there, possibly a little bit from the window on this side and the wall on this side, but I'm hoping it's rejecting the back wall fairly well. So this is the sound at a distance of 3 feet in a room, which you may have to resort to if you don't want your microphone to be seen on camera. And if I go round it, this is the sound as I go round. This is the sound of the microphone at 90 degrees. I'm now at 90 degrees from the microphone, approximately 3 feet. And now if I carry on walking round, I'm now directly behind the microphone at a distance of about 3 feet. At this position, don't forget, there's a wall behind my chair, so it's very, very likely that my voice is coming from the wall, and that in turn will produce probably a slightly warmed up bassy sound. Coming back round to the side, and I'm now back to 90 degrees. Just try what I would regard as the null point. This is the null point on the back end. So if it was a supercardio, I don't expect it to be fairly dead here. Back to 90 degrees now, and coming round to the front. And now I'm back to the front again. So this is a typical way I sometimes use the Audio AT2020. Now, as luck would have it, we're going to have a car coming by, and you can see now how it compares my voice with the sound that goes behind me, and that's the car coming past. So the sound now is being fed into a Saramonic recorder, and when I'm using this outdoors, there's no wires, nothing. You just hold the microphone and you record whatever, and that's it. So the car's just gone past now, and that's the kind of thing, the rejection that you could get outdoors. There's a slight breeze going on, but it's not too bad. And this is how I would use the Audio Technica as a reporting mic, but the only thing is, it gives a slightly better fidelity perhaps than the dynamic. Just to show you, here's the recorder. So when you're out and about, this could work quite well. Okay, now this is another situation where what I've done is I've boomed the mic in front of me. It's about, again, 3 foot away outside. Car just went by, in case you picked that up behind, and this is the sound from the front. If I go to 90 degrees, this is the sound of the microphone at 90 degrees from the same distance. If I go behind the microphone at the same distance, this is the sound of the microphone right from the rear, and this time it's square onto me. I did a test like this yesterday with the T-bone, and I have a suspicion it was at a slight angle. This is now hopefully the right angle for me. Back to the side again. Okay, to the side, and now coming round to the front again, and this is the sound at the front. Now behind me, behind there is a row of houses, and behind the houses is what we call our main road. It's not really a main road, but it's noisy enough to be picked up on a microphone quite easily, and we do get lorries going past. Just to give some idea of distance, I'm now going to go a bit further back, and this time I'm, I would say 6 feet away from the microphone roughly, and this is the kind of sound that you would get from it at a slight distance. And funnily enough, I sometimes use the microphone this way, just because it gives a slightly higher fidelity than, say, a dynamic microphone, and it's quite nice sometimes to get that rich sound from a large condenser. So here's the $50 question. Is the Audio Technica 2020 worth £95 when for the same kind of money I could buy 2 T-bones? I'll be doing that in a future video. I'll compare the T-bone directly with the AT2020 just to see. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Cheers for now.